Ori sells around 10 million copies across all platforms globally, Moon Studios co-founder reveals. Ori sales are around 10 million copies worldwide across all platforms, Moon Studios co-founder Thomas Mahler has revealed. The co-founder and creative director at Moon Studios said as much on X, formerly Twitter, yesterday when talking about the first game in the Ori series, Ori and the Blind Forest. If Blind Forest would have flopped back then, we would have been bankrupt as a studio, he wrote on X. Mahler added that the series sold around 10 million copies to date. But thank God it didn't, we sold around 10 meters copies of Ori so far, which probably makes it the most successful Metroidvania series ever made. If Blind Forest would have flopped back then, we would have been bankrupt as a studio. But thank God it didn't, we sold around 10 meters copies of Ori so far, which probably makes it the most successful Metroidvania series ever made. When asked if he referred only to sales of Ori and the Blind Forest, Mahler answered that he meant sales of both the Blind Forest and Ori and the Will of the Wisps combined. Both combined. The Ori creator also had something to say about sales of the Ori games on the Nintendo Switch, revealing that, initially, sales on the Switch were lower than expected due to technical issues with the eShop. Unfortunately, Mahler didn't reveal how many sales of the games have now been sold on Nintendo's hybrid platform. Initially not as many as we were hoping, he explained on X. We had quite some trouble with Nintendo's eShop. On the day Blind Forest released, Ori was nowhere to be found on their store page, and if you searched for Ori, all you found was Paper Mario, Origami King. Ori and the Blind Forest was initially released for Xbox One and PC back in 2015. The game received a Switch release in 2019. The game's sequel, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, was released in 2020 for PC and Xbox as well. A Switch version was released several months later. Here's what we wrote about that sequel in our launch review back then. Despite all that, I am still totally in love with Will of Wisps. It is an incredibly satisfying experience as your skills and abilities grow steadily. It is a monument to the artistic and musical talent in the games industry, and it is another emotional story from Moon Studios that will have you genuinely empathizing with the silent characters as they struggle with despair, grief and the faltering of hope. Ori and the Will of the Wisps is a fantastic game from start to finish, even if it isn't quite a perfect one.